Blue Wire.
Kirk Cousins, he's going to be a Minnesota Viking. This was the right call.
Cousins pressure, hit as he throws, going for Thielen. He's got it! Touchdown! Oh my! Up by Diggs. Stay up! Oh my God! Oh my God! 30! No touchdown! It's a Minneapolis Miracle!
Welcome in, everybody. Welcome into Bleeding Purple, a podcast about the Minnesota Vikings. We are part of the Blue Wire Podcast Network. You can subscribe to us on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts. You can subscribe to us on YouTube, which will be updated soon. I'm going to try and do that tonight. I'm sorry. My name is Tyler Haig. I'm joined as always by Mr. Adam Patrick. What's up, buddy?
It's feeling great. I'm on the Dayquil, NyQuil regimen right now, so I'm just hoping to be, ready to go. Me and Stefan Diggs have been, down with an illness this week, missing practice, so hopefully I'll be ready to go by Saturday.
Great place to start.
Though,
Great place to start.
Yep.
Yeah, Stefan Diggs hasn't made it to the last two practices. He's sick. Also today, Adam Thielen did something to his ankle and was limited in practice. What do you make of these things, and do you expect this to affect them in the game? At this point, today is Wednesday. We are recording this.
Yep.
The illness for Stefan Diggs worries me. Thielen, I think, is meh, but I don't know about the Diggs one. That kind of freaks me out. Where are you at with him?
I don't know with the illness because in the NFL they can just sit you down and give you like an IV all day, so I feel like they can get you recovered more than if you're just a normal citizen going to Target or something.
That's true. I also think normal citizen thoughts instead of hyperbolic chambers and things like that.
So they got a couple of things they can do.
Good call.
And then the Thielen thing, I would guess that if he tweaked his ankle or whatever today, the Vikings were just immediately like, okay, you're done. Like you're not practicing anymore. We're not gonna, even if it was just a small little thing and he could have gone. I'm sure they're just like, we're not gonna risk this. We need you on Saturday. So until otherwise, I wouldn't expect anything of it. I would expect both of them to play on Saturday, especially since their season could be over if they don't. So
true. Also out, Mackenzie Alexander. Not as surprising, but here's the surprising part. Mackenzie Alexander is going to have surgery. He might be on IR. They're going to wait until after the surgery to figure out if he's going to be able to go.
They should just put him on IR.
Wow,
I don't know why they're waiting.
Yeah.
Like, if they get to the Super Bowl, they might bring him back, which I guess. But I think he's having, arthroscopic surgery on his knee. So the timetable of his return isn't really known, and he's a free agent next year too, so his career with the Vikings could already be done. That's a blow though.
Yeah, that would suck
for the Vikings, because especially since Xavier Rhodes was a little banged up on Sunday. You got Trey Waynes and Hilton Hill as your only two really healthy good cornerbacks. I know Chris Boyd's on there too, but he hasn't really done a whole lot. Sendejo, he was the nickel corner,
which was amazing.
He played well.
Yes,
he played well in that role.
It was a genius move by them to put him there as. That was super smart.
But I don't know how long you can get away with that.
Exactly right, and that's the kind of thing that really good offensive coordinators or coaches like Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah,
that's the kind of stuff that they exploit and punish you for. I'm not sure we're going to see Sendejo in that role as much, if at all. I don't know because who's healthy? I don't know.
But they also have both safeties healthy, Anthony Harris and Harrison Smith, so that's good. They got both linebackers healthy, and they got Jaron Kearse too, even though they don't ever use him. I don't know why.
I was just going to say, I don't want to say like poor Jaron Kearse, but every time he's like, nice, I'm going to get to play. They're like, actually, we signed somebody.
Sendejo's going to play.
And you're not going to play. It's going to be somebody else. So. Yeah, dude, I don't know. It's fun. We kind of chuckle and we discuss trading corners because we've got so many of them in depth. This is the only depth we have on this team is the corner. We got to trade one. And wow, is Mike Zimmer right when he says you can never have enough corners?
They're definitely drafting one in the first or second round.
100%.
2020. That's without a doubt.
It kind of bums me out because, like, that's not very exciting. But at the same time, it's because of weeks like this where I'm like, go ahead, draft another Mike Hughes and just keep plugging them in as they whatever. Sounds great.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, man. The secondary situation is...
But the good thing is, like, the 49ers, they have good receivers, but they don't have, like, a star receiver. They don't have, like, a Julio Jones or a Michael Thomas or even, like, a Mike Evans.
Mm-hmm.
I think Emmanuel Sanders is probably their best receiver, and he's good, but he's...
He is, but he's older.
I'd put him on the same level. Yeah, I'd put him on the same level as maybe, like, a Julian Edelman, that kind of tier or whatever. Like they can make plays and have good games, but they're not all pro level. So that's at least a good thing.
Yeah, you talk about them in the game plan, but you don't build your game plan around them as a weapon offensively. And correct me if I'm wrong, but he hasn't been there all season, right? He got traded
Emmanuel
over.
Sanders?
Yeah,
he was traded from the Broncos the other year.
So, I mean, he's good, but he isn't, like you said, he isn't the...
Yeah. The Niners' best receiver is probably George Kittle, and he's a tight end.
Hey, speaking of the 49ers, Vikings are playing them on Saturday.
What?
Yeah, did you know? Had you heard? It's true. They actually last weekend.
1987?
They won a game last weekend in New Orleans. Now they're going to San Francisco to play. Yes, and did you see, not Candlestick, unfortunately, did you see the end zone paint?
Yeah, it's all
logo?
red.
It's old.
Classic.
It's the old school 49ers. Which is what it looked like the last time the Vikings won.
I saw the Vikings are going to be wearing, they're not going to wear all purple this time. They're going to be wearing white jerseys and purple pants. So
lame.
Yeah. They should have kept with the all purple the whole playoffs, but I don't know if they could do that because other teams would be like, no, we want to wear our home jersey.
I don't know if they would let them do that. Speaking of that football game, how much of a chance do you give the Vikings to win this game? Are we just hopeful Vikings fans, and do they maybe not have much of a shot here, or are we not delusional? What do you think?
I think they just beat arguably the best team in the NFC last week, so you have to think they have a chance. A lot of people look at that as their toughest game they might have if they're going to go to the Super Bowl. Is it going to be tough? Yeah. I think the 49ers have more players to worry about on both sides of the ball than the Saints do. Not necessarily the quarterback. I think Jimmy G is a good quarterback. He's not, amazing. But you have Nick Bosa and Richard Sherman, and there's Raheem Mostert, who has 10 touchdowns this year, and most people probably don't even know who that is. And George Kittle, and their offensive line is good. So yeah, I think it's going to be a good game. It's going to be close. The Vikings and 49ers play very, very similar, which isn't surprising because Kyle Shanahan's dad is Mike Shanahan, who worked with Gary Kubiak, the Broncos, and they all run a similar offense, run the ball, play action, all that kind of
The Shanahan coaching tree has a lot of branches in this game. The offenses are going to look very similar.
Yep.
Yeah. I think, honestly,
it's probably going to come down to turnover.
It probably will. And these teams are so even. They basically run the same kind of offense. They basically have the same philosophies on defense, or, like the same philosophies as a team, as they want to run the ball, they want to play defense, they want to, blah, 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 blah.
Yep.
It's basically, like you said, going to come down to who turns the ball over more, Kirk Cousins or Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah, and this year it's been Jimmy Garoppolo.
And that's what I was going to say and really, it's hard to tell who's going to do that because we've seen Kirk Cousins be really bad and turn the ball over a lot.
Underrated thing, though, Dalvin Cook, please hold on to the ball.
Yes, yeah. And when did this become a thing where you're losing 7 yards and almost the ball? Sometimes. I'm not interested in that.
So I think, that's been – he's had a couple of fumbles this year, so I think that's something to worry about on Saturday. A thing that isn't really being talked about that probably should. A Vikings running back with a fumbling problem. Not that it's a
Not that we've
problem,
ever seen that before, but
but
no,
it could be.
It could be a problem. That's exactly right. I want to ask you this question that is not on our list of questions that we have put on there. So flying by the seat of our pants here, Adam.
Surprise!
Hang on. What concerns you the most? What is like the thing that scares you? What is the thing about this game that is like, but that I don't like that?
About the Vikings?
Either way, I guess. Just what is the part either from? Because like for me, I'm like, Kyle Shanahan scares me. I don't know what to do about that. I feel like he could wreck things with a really good game plan, could hurt us. But from a player standpoint, I am so scared of the defensive line of San Francisco. I feel like they could really destroy what the Vikings are trying to do and make it a non-contest. But I wanted to ask you, what concerns you the most about this game as a
That's
Vikings?
fair. I don't worry about I don't worry so much about Kyle Shanahan because Gary Kubiak, I'm pretty sure, knows him very well.
Yeah, right.
He was on his staff in Houston. Yeah, so I'm not worried about that as much. I think I'd be worried about the Vikings secondary just because they seem to be dropping like flies, and they don't do well with quick receivers, which is what the 49ers have. Mm-hmm. And then I'd just be worried about what Kevin Stefanski, what his plan is for this week. Is he gonna go, with what they do well this week, or is he gonna try and do some stuff that doesn't work and just have Kirk Cousins drop back to pass and not know where he's going, which has never worked in the past, but for some reason they keep trying to do that. That's what I would worry about. And he's interviewing to be the Browns head coach on Thursday. I've seen a couple of people on the Twitter.com saying they're not too happy with that, with him interviewing midweek, because I think I remember Pat Shurmur did that before the NFC Championship, and we know how that turned out in 2017. So, but
where are you at?
I also don't worry about that either because of Gary Kubiak.
Mm-hmm.
So, because we don't know how much Gary Kubiak, how much he has, what his part is in making the game plan every week. He could have a giant part, and Stefanski just calls the plays. Mm-hmm. So I don't think it's as much as a worry as it was in 2017 when Shurmur was interviewing for the Giants job.
I would agree with that. It sucks that this is the only time that they can do that, and especially in a season like this where it's like all of these head coaching jobs. Dude hasn't even gotten to interview. He's like the hot young head coaching candidate, and all these jobs are going to be taken before he even gets to interview with anybody.
It's also not the only time they have to do this. The Browns, if they really want to talk to Stefanski, and if Stefanski really wants to talk to the Browns, but he could say, you know what, I need to focus on my team and help them out with my job that I have right now.
Yep.
But he's not.
You're kind of leaning the one way.
Yeah, I don't know how to feel about this because I don't think it would have a big effect on the Vikings, but you'll be able to tell on Saturday if it does.
I know, that's the thing that scares me is I don't want it to affect the outcome, and I want to assume that as professionals they will all take care of that stuff, and he will be able to do that, and everybody will work the same way they will normally work. But I think as normal people, that's not how people work, You're distracted. He's going to have to spend at least some time getting ready for the interview.
Maybe Stefanski's like, if we lose and I can get a head start on, some stuff for the Browns.
Don't say that. I don't think he thinks that, but I think that's a real concern.
Don't ever give people the benefit of the doubt in the NFL.
You don't think so?
No. Don't ever do that. Hey, remember Josh McDaniels, who was going to be the head coach at the Colts last year? Yeah. How'd that turn out?
What a turd. Don't even get me started on that guy. And they're already talking about him being a head coach again. But,
him and Stefanski are the guys who are in the running for the Browns job.
Why would you ever interview a guy who took a job and then didn't take the job?
It's the Browns. They don't know what they're doing.
God, it drives me nuts.
They just see, Bill Belichick, he shook his hand.
We want the Patriot way to be our way, too. Yeah. Can you make that happen?
The Giants just hired they're the Patriots wide receivers coach to be their head coach. So
it's truly like here. Honestly, though, billions of dollars, so much so many smart people, so much brain power.
In other areas, though, not
yes,
football.
and then you have moves like this where it's like, what do you mean you're making Freddie Kitchens the head coach? What do you mean you hired the wide receiver coach?
The problem is they think that because they own the team, they can make all the decisions, and like they've made good decisions in the past with other things that aren't related to football.
Yes,
but football is easy. Anyone can do this, and then they make terrible decisions, and they have 10 coaches in 12 years.
Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah. It really is that easy, though. And I was listening to Golick and Wingo this morning talking about the Rooney Rule and the coaching stuff and how that, it obviously is just stupid. The idea is not stupid. In practice, that does not work, and the rule is stupid. But what you're talking about...
You're never going to be able to force anyone to do something they don't want to do.
Exactly right. You can't force somebody to hire somebody that they don't want to hire. And what you're talking about then is changing the opinions of 32 rich dudes. Good luck with that. Because that's what we're talking about. And that's why these bad decisions happen, is because these smart, rich men make bad decisions. Rich white dudes. And I didn't want to say, because maybe not all of them are white, but the vast majority are, yeah.
They are. I don't think there's a black owner in the
NFL. Not black, but who was Jaguars, not white.
Oh yeah. Yep. You're right. He's from. I think he's from India.
I think you're right too. But yeah, anyways, I digress. But that's the thing that bothers me, is that we're looking for all this progression, and who are you asking to progress? A bunch of rich baby boomers? Good luck, dude. That ain't happening. That sucks. If you want the change to happen, those are the dudes you have to talk to.
That's why,
and the Shield ain't going to do that.
Yeah, that's why Mike McCarthy got hired. That's why Marvin Lewis was in the running again. Like all these retreads that they get fired, and then they're like, oh, well, you can come coach our team, even though I don't know. But actually, I think a lot of the hires this year are they're not exciting, but teams are trying to move in a different direction. Like the Panthers went and got Matt Rule from Baylor.
Panthers hire I don't hate. Giants hire I think is stupid. The Washington hire I can get behind because Ron Rivera has a little bit of a history. Dallas and McCarthy I can't do. Yeah. I can't. It makes no sense to me whatsoever. What was the other one? Wide receiver.
That's it so far.
Behind. Yeah, that is it. And then the Browns are gonna brown that.
And then there could be more, maybe. There always seems to be one who's like behind, and they're like, "I'm going to fire you." Maybe like the Texans or something.
Yeah, you're probably right. Honestly, I hope not to take. I like him as a head coach. Anyways, let's move on. Oh, you know what? I almost forgot. We're gonna have an interview. We talked to Kevin Jones, CEO of Blue Wire Podcast Network. Also hosts, don't do that. Also hosts a 49ers podcast, which is who the Vikings are playing. So let's do that. We'll talk to Kevin Jones quick, and then we'll come back and we'll do our score predictions and put a wrap on this episode. We are joined now by Kevin Jones. Kevin, you are the founder, CEO of Blue Wire, which obviously we are a part of. And in addition to that, you are the host of Striking Gold, which is a 49ers podcast. Oh, by the way, the Vikings and the 49ers play this weekend. Kevin, thank you so much for joining us. How are you doing this evening?
My guys, we're rivals this week, but
we are, yes.
I'm excited for the game and a little nervous, but it also could be a blowout for San Francisco. So there's like a lot of mixed feelings. I really feel like the NFL is wide open this year. This could be the year that like someone random like the Vikings or Titans, like someone's going to get upset this weekend. And so if I'm a Vikings fan, I'm feeling like there's a chance this weekend.
That's exactly how I've been feeling, and we've been saying it for a couple of weeks, or 4 weeks, that the NFC especially is so crazy even. I mean, the 49ers, as an example, they win. I mean, it's the 2nd seed, it's the 5th seed. I mean, there's so little separation between these teams that, I think you're right. Anything really this weekend can happen. We saw it a little bit last weekend. I want to start, Kevin, by asking you this, the 49ers obviously have done well. They won a lot of games, got a great seed, a bye, all these things. What might set them back? What might hold them back from getting to the Super Bowl, aside from obviously the incredible talent on the Vikings roster, but maybe something more specific to the 49ers?
Yeah, I think second corner. So Richard Sherman's getting a lot of accolades. He's getting a lot of attention right now on Twitter, and he's rightfully shut down one side of the field because the strategy from other teams is literally target second corner the whole time. So there's a Richard Sherman conundrum almost. He's so good that it's now a weakness on the field. The 49ers are starting Ahkello Witherspoon this week. People like me have been beating the drum. He's getting burned a lot, and he's a high draft pick, and they feel loyalty towards him. There's an undrafted free agent that emerges here, Emmanuel Mosley. Witherspoon got benched at the end of the Seattle game, Week 17. Mosley came in, also got burned a little, but he also made a nice play. I would be riding with Mosley. It feels like they're a little loyal to a player, so that could be one downfall. Second downfall, turnovers have happened with Jimmy G. He's been able to respond, but if they turn the ball over 3 times, they're probably going to lose. Like, you can turn the ball over against a lesser team and still win, but they're going to have to protect the football. And they've had random games where they haven't, and they've had to do a lot of scrambling at the end to win. So it's pretty simple. They should come out and execute their game plan. I really believe in Kyle Shanahan. I do think the 49ers are going to win, but there's some weaknesses for sure. It feels like it's kind of their year, but it also, like, they just got here too. But it's been a year where they beat the Saints. You guys beat the Saints as well too. So just their crazy rise has me skeptical and excited. It's just like so many mixed emotions here. It's hard to not be confident in them, but then it's hard to be surprised if they lose. It's just like everything's crisscrossed, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, it does make sense.
You sound like a Vikings fan. So obviously they would like to do both, but what do you believe would be a bigger priority for the 49ers on Saturday? Would it be stopping Diggs and Thielen, or stopping Dalvin Cook? Like, what do you think their focus is going to be on?
They're not that good of a run-stopping unit. So if I am Minnesota, I do try and get that oiled up early, try and get an early touchdown, get Dalvin going, take the pressure off Kirk. They're a really good pass rushing unit when they're on. They can annihilate a game plan. They could turn Kirk Cousins upside down and shake him out if they do it correctly. I'm a little hesitant about Quan Alexander coming back so quickly. I feel like Kyle Rudolph is actually a good matchup in this because he's coming off a torn pec, man. You can kind of pick on him, I feel like, but he's one of those crazy NFL guys. His hair is red, like, he's made plays before. But if I'm Kevin Stefanski, I'm trying to run the football early. I'm trying to get Kyle Rudolph involved early. I would put Thielen on the second corner. Like, I would attack there, and I would put Diggs on Richard Sherman, and I would go Thielen hard on the second corner. That would be my game plan coming out.
You mentioned Quan Alexander. What impact, if any? I mean, he's going to be playing, but like, what do you expect from him in this game, returning from injury?
I hope he doesn't play every snap. That feels just like so much. J.J. Watt, it's hard to compare yourself to him, but Quan was amazing earlier in the year. I think this defense felt it when they lost him. They've had Dre Greenlaw emerge, the rookie who made the amazing goal line stop. He's a 5th-round pick from Arkansas. They've had some other 5th-round picks, come on the scene and then not pan out a year later, so we can't crown them yet. But they've gotten some depth at linebacker where Quan is super good in coverage. He's like sideline to sideline, and now he can guard some receivers like 20 yards down the field. So he's very versatile. Really on defense, it's been Nick Bosa that changed everything. He kind of fell off towards the end of the year. It felt like he's never played 13, 14, 15 games. Maybe he got a little stonewalled, but in the middle of the year when this team was crushing teams, he was like the best player from like week 6 to 10. And it was like totally apparent. If he gets going, the crowd gets going, Jimmy G gets going. So you really want to come out and do like 3-step drops. Make sure Kirk isn't getting sacked early because it could like spin out of control.
All right, so we know about Jimmy G, we know about Richard Sherman, Nick Bosa, and George Kittle, and all those guys. But who is a guy that maybe Vikings fans may not really know about, but he's someone who could play a big role in Saturday's result?
Deebo Samuel has been getting like good touches. So it's a rookie second-round pick from South Carolina. They've been using him in motion and using him almost as a running back sometimes. Kyle hasn't really used a piece like this before, but he's had some big plays like that. I could see him throwing a pass because they haven't done that with him yet. Kyle Juszczyk has hurt some teams actually deep down the field, like 30, 40-yard receptions. The 49ers have been great with deep plays since Emmanuel Sanders has been added, so you have to mention him. Defensively, I feel like people don't know DeForest Buckner, but he's like truly sturdy and like batting down passes and, getting a sack and a half and, just disrupting the game. And then, so the guys coming back from injury are Jaquiski Tartt. He's a strong safety. He's not that great in coverage, but he's good against the run. He'll start. He's been out the last month. And then there's Eric Armstead. Truly, watching from afar, he had an amazing year. He really did. And he's on a contract year, and they're going to have to bring him back. He's been a key piece on the D-line too. So the D-line is really loaded. And if they get going, they can take control of the game. They can win on the line of scrimmage, and then Kyle can manipulate the offense. Maybe they don't win on the line of scrimmage physically, but like they have so much motion, someone's wide open. The defense is confused, and so that's the 49ers game plan. Kyle confuses, and then the D-line harasses, and that's been 13-3 for them.
The more I look at the 49ers and the Vikings, the more I feel like they're like almost the same exact team, because both like to run the ball, both like to have great pass rushers, and both like to have the their pass defense set the tone too. So I think it's going to be a close matchup on Saturday, hopefully.
I think you're right though, Kevin. It's either going to be very close, or that defensive line is going to just destroy everything the Vikings are trying to do. And we've seen it when Kirk Cousins gets that kind of pressure, especially early on, that it could be a very, very, very ugly game. I want to end on this, Kevin, and we'll let you go after this. You kind of mentioned it a little bit with the defensive line, but what do you think is the one thing, like not a player, but what do you think is the X factor in this game? What could make or break the 49ers winning or losing on Saturday? What do you think is the most important thing for them?
Oh, I mean, I'm going to beat the drum on second corner. If they show up and can defend the pass, it'll be fine. But I think Stefanski's smart enough to tailor a game plan and stick Thielen on that side. It seems like just so obvious for me what the Minnesota Vikings game plan should be. Short passes early to Kyle Rudolph, get Dalvin Cook going, set up a play action to get Thielen a long touchdown early. Like, the 49ers can get trapped. But if their D-line gets going, then they can take control of the game. But I'm really worried about that second corner, because it could be their undoing, and fans are going to be so blown. And it's not even surprising, because it's really been an issue, I think, and it's bubbled up at the wrong time.
Well, sometimes things are obvious, but the Vikings don't like to do the obvious. So keep having the faith. Or
there's still
whatever.
A chance, Kevin. Yeah. There's still a chance.
I'm excited for you guys, and I'm keeping you on the line. I know it's late there, but I mean, do you have faith in Kirk? Because I think a big storyline here is the 49ers are so happy they have Jimmy Garoppolo, but like it's such a showdown here. Like it's never QB versus QB. The football game's bigger than that. We'll have to see what happens, but at the end of the day, we remember that it's on the QB's legacy. It feels like Kirk got a little bit of a monkey off his back at New Orleans, and he could be playing confidently. But you guys are Vikings fans too. You're used to disappointment. So, like, what is the mood right now?
That's totally it. I'm ready for him to play as well as he played last week. We've seen him be that good, but I would not be shocked at all if it was a total disaster and he had like 3 fumbles, 3 strip sack, like lost fumbles in the first like quarter and a half.
Yeah, no, usually we can tell like pretty early if he's going to have a good game or be terrible, because you look at the Week 16 game against the Packers on Monday night, he was just missing throws like right away, just missing like little short screen passes and things like that. But against the Saints, he's firing deep balls down the field and hitting guys in the breadbasket. So it's usually pretty easy to tell pretty quickly.
Yeah.
if he's going to be on his game or not. I don't know how that is with Jimmy G, but usually Kirk has to get into a little bit of a rhythm if he's going to be doing pretty well, and he did that on Sunday. So hopefully that happens on Saturday.
The other thing, too, with Kirk is he definitely does – it feels like he panics harder when the focus is on him, like on Monday night games when everybody's talking about Kirk and blah, 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 blah. And it doesn't feel – I mean, there's a showdown happening here, but it doesn't feel like the same – it's either Kirk or we lose situation. And the way the defense played last week and the new defensive line, like if they're going to have Everson Griffin and Danielle Hunter moving around on the defensive line – I feel like Kirk will have enough of that pressure lifted off of him.
And the sun's going to be out.
And the sun will be out, and so he's
it's not going to be a night game. We're
which
good.
is always good for Kirk. So,
No, for real though. No, for real. That is a psyche part of football.
Yeah.
Non-analytics, like you can't measure those types of things. I like Kirk. I really do. I root for him. I grew up a Redskins fan, and the first job I ever had was covering the Redskins, and he was a rookie, and he got into the worst situation possible, like being behind RG3 and then being like the suck up to Kyle and putting the pressure on RG3. He's been in some difficult situations with Dan Snyder and contract negotiations. He's truly, I'm proud of him. Like, this is amazing that he's made it this far. The Vikings are a really well-coached team when you look around the rest of the league. They really are. But it feels like it could be you're in the same Kirk situation the Redskins were next year. There's going to be more pressure on him. It's basically a contract year for him next year. This is obviously every next game is the biggest game of his career, but he wins this one. He's going to get a lot of breathing room. He makes an NFC championship game too on the road. Like he might get an extension this offseason. So
I was going to say if he wins, he's going to get a lot of money too.
Yeah.
It would be smart to give him that extension if he got to the NFC championship game and just like take that pressure off him, because he's a quarterback who's, until you prove you can win a Super Bowl, the pressure is going to mount on you.
For sure. No, that makes a ton of sense. You're right about it's like, because it's only a 3-year deal. I mean, it's a massive amount of money and it's all guaranteed, whatever. But only 3 years feels like there's still something, like we're waiting for him to prove something still. Like he still has to prove to the Vikings that he can get an extension. And yeah, I think if he wins this next game,
if he loses, though, it is going to be that it's going to be hard to extend him after just winning one playoff game. But you can't hate with what he's done. Like, making his second round of the playoffs. He limited turnovers this year. Losing Stefanski is going to be tough. You're going to have to, if he goes to the Browns. I want to let you go after this, but my last thing is what's happening with the secondary. Is this real with Xavier Rhodes' meltdown and Mike Hughes? Is Alexander playing? And then
Alexander's out again.
Yeah, Alexander will not be playing. Yeah. He is there. He's going to have
surgery.
Surgery, and they're going to wait to see if they're going to put him on IR until after the surgery.
Oh my God.
Like it's totally real. And the Xavier Rhodes thing has been happening. That's been that's
all year
quietly happening all year. Yeah, so that was not.
Even last year too.
Yeah, that was not really surprising last week, but yeah, that's real. That's what he is now, which is sad. But true.
He played. For Xavier Rhodes, last week he actually played really well. Other than that 50-yard pass that he gave up, which is odd to say. Other than that 50-yard bomb,
that's what I was going to say. Which maybe says more about how he'd been playing before that.
No, but the. You know what? The secondary, they shut down Michael Thomas last week, so you got to give him some credit for that. And I think
it's going to be interesting because Kyle, I think, is going to come out throwing.
The Vikings don't do well with the type of receivers that the 49ers have, which are like speedy, smaller guys who are quick and twitchy like that. They're better with the bigger guys like Julio Jones and Michael Thomas. So I'm curious to see what Zimmer's plans are for this week, because he rolled out a pretty good game plan last week against the Saints. So I'm curious.
It's going to be fun. I mean, these are two of the best coaches. These are two of the best teams. I think the Vikings are in a tough spot because of the injuries, but the fans should be kind of proud of how far they made it. But it feels like people are ready for the inevitable disappointment. It was tough for me because I want the 49ers to make the Super Bowl this year, but I would actually be happy for Kirk, to be honest, if this happened, and happy for Vikings fans.
Me too.
It's fun when it's surprising, you know what I mean? When you're like, oh wow. That's championship game. Wow.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about the Titans this year. Like, I don't really care, but like part of me is like, yeah, Titans, do that. Yeah, take them out. Go, keep going. Yeah, Tannehill, do that.
Well, at least the Patriots won't be in there.
Yeah.
You guys are the true underdogs in the NFC, but still have like a good, I think, like good shot for being the lowest seed left.
Oh, for sure.
And to my listeners on Striking Gold, Bleeding Purple, legit Vikings coverage. Check in like what they have to say after this game too, because it will be worth your while. Tyler and Adam are killing it. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you, Kevin. And we're back. Thank you, Kevin, for joining us. Make sure you check out his podcast, Striking Gold, as well as all the other Blue Wire podcasts. They're wonderful.
Yep.
That was fun. Let's get into our score predictions for this playoff matchup on a Saturday. Adam, what do you think is going to happen in this football game?
Two good defenses. Two teams that like to run the ball. Two teams that run the ball well. Don't think it's going to be. Not that last week was high scoring, but I think just the offenses moved the ball.
Yeah, that's a
really
great way
well
to put
last
it.
week.
It wasn't high scoring, but the ball was moving all over the field. I agree with
Yeah. I think it'll probably be similar to last week, like 24. We'll go 24-20 Vikings.
24-20.
Let's Anthony Harris probably get another pick. Let's make it a pick six.
Yeah, dude, I would love that.
Oh, he's gonna make so much money next year.
At work, we have a betting thing, and I win if the number
With money?
Yeah, and no, obviously, because that would be illegal.
Yeah.
But for fun, I win if the number ends in a 1. So I am going to predict 21-10 Vikings. I say that only 10 points for San Francisco. Here's why. I was so impressed with the defensive line moving, putting Everson Griffin and Danielle Hunter on the inside is amazing to me. Bringing Sendejo in and having him being your nickel corner was genius. I want more of that. I feel like they could.
I've been liking Ifedi Adenabo so much.
Yeah, dude, he's been
lately.
incredible. Yes.
The more they can get him on the field, I feel like the better they are, because he's like a madman out there on the field.
He's one of those guys who it's like you wouldn't say, oh, he's a superstar, but he always makes plays. It doesn't matter. It's a preseason game. It's a regular season game. It's scrubs. He's always making a play. This might
be very, very early, but the way he moves and acts on the field, it reminds me of John Randall. But
that's
obviously,
a lofty comparison, Adam.
That's a very high comparison to live up to, and he's got a long way to go before that. But just the way he seems to always be going like 1,000 miles an hour.
There is a relentlessness to the way that he plays. I totally agree with you. I know exactly what you're talking about. Not the same amount of crazy that John Randall was, and probably not a Hall of Fame player.
Thank God.
But yeah, right, exactly, which is great for all of us. But yeah, I think that you're exactly right. There's a relentlessness about the way that he plays football. I enjoy it. Yeah, he's been wonderful. I think to me, he has been, aside from the punter, has been the best surprise of.
Do you even know the punter's name?
I'm not interested in his name. You know who the real punter is, Adam? It's Ryan Quigley. That's who the punter is.
You have to
that's who the punter should.
It's been almost 3 years.
It's not 3 years, has it?
Let me get over it, man.
No, he was only. When was Quigley last punting? That was not
you don't even know.
Ago. No, don't do that to me. No, this
2
is
years.
Cole quits for Don't do that to me.
Last year was Matt Weil. That was a fun time.
Yeah, put some respect on Ryan Quigley's name. I don't know. Dude, I don't know why.
You know what's interesting? This game could actually come down to the kickers now that you're talking about punters.
It's
because I think Robbie Gould's missed like 8 field goals this year, which is weird for him. And I don't think he's made any over 50. And we know Dan Bailey's only missed 2 field goals this year.
Knock on wood.
And it was a factor last week.
It was a factor last week.
The Saints kicker missed.
Also, we didn't talk about that hardly at all. But man, what a world to be on this side of the missed field goal that winds up affecting the outcome of the game. I was like, whoa, this is what it's like.
It was a very strange game. You get the ball first in overtime. You get the call, the no call, the in your favor. Like, it was very strange.
Yeah, it was very bizarre. And then a possible penalty that we weren't like, I can't believe we got screwed. We were like, I don't know, it looked okay to me.
Yeah, it looked good to me.
Yeah, like when was the last time that happened? I don't know. Unbelievable. I look forward to this game. This is one. I mean, obviously the playoffs are exciting, and you always look forward to playoff games. But from a personnel scheme standpoint, I'm really excited to watch this game.
Will you be disappointed if they lose? Like, will you be happy with the season that they've had up to this point if they lose?
Yeah. I feel like this season, man, it's tough. Is it a successful season? I feel like
obviously it's never successful if you don't win the Super Bowl. But.
Yeah. But I feel like this was a good season. If you would have told me, here's the way I'm going to look at it. If you would have told me the day that Kirk Cousins signs, they were going to have a season that looked like this and got them to this point, I would have said, okay, yeah, I'm in. This is
probably what last season should have been.
Yeah.
With a different offensive coordinator.
It's amazing, man. It doesn't take much, but just a little bit of that. And by the way, their offensive coordinator this year probably not going to be on the staff.
Yeah, but
year.
Pat Shermer might be back.
Let's stay focused on the positives here. The game that's coming up.
Dalvin Cook's healthy. Alexander Madison's healthy.
Do you think that this team? What do you think the chances of a blowout here are? Kevin mentioned it.
The Vikings blowing them out?
No, the Vikings getting blown out. See what you did there? That was well done.
I don't think so, because the Vikings, they typically save their blowouts for the NFC Championship. So I'm not going to think that it's going to happen in the divisional round.
Almost as bad as mentioning the field goal kicker in the. Who was that? On Twitter. That was so wonderful. Dan Bailey hasn't missed much. What 41-0,
38-7. They don't do it in the divisional round. No, they're not going to get a blowout. Yeah.
Not in this one. It's always the next one.
Because then they get all hyped up. They're like, we're one game away from the Super Bowl. We're so good. And then...
Barf. Well, that's a good spot to end, Adam. I'm glad
Yeah.
Skull Vikes.
Yeah.
Seriously though, I think it's going to be really fun. I don't think the Vikings are going to get blown out. I think it's the teams are too similar. I think there's.
Yeah. I think it's going to be a lot like last week.
Yeah. I think from a talent standpoint, they're too even, and then schematically, they've seen so much of that offense from.
What did I tell you though last week when I asked you if the Vikings win the coin toss, should they get the ball first or take it on defense? And you said they should be on defense, and I said take it on offense.
And they totally took it on.
What did Mike Zimmer do?
He took it
on offense because he wanted to be like, boom, we're going to go down and score. But then Adam Thielen fumbled.
I was going to say, how did that work out for him, Adam? How did that decision go? And then, but I think at the start of the second half, that was a 3-and-out. They got the ball right back, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. I mean, on the road, I feel like that's more important because you want to set the tone, quote unquote, to do that early and, show that you're there to play.
Yeah. And from the Vikings' perspective, the thing you want the most is to take the crowd out of it as quickly as possible. You get the ball, you put a big drive together, and you score. That pretty much does it right away.
It was so quiet when Kyle Rudolph caught that touchdown.
Oh, it was magical. It was just magical.
So quiet.
I love that you can hear the yells of the Vikings players because it was so quiet in there that you could hear them screaming. It was it was fun, man. Fun game. Looking forward to this one. Do you have anything else you would like to mention?
You like that? Oh yeah, we got a T-shirt up on our Twitter account. The link's on there at Bleeding Purple or at Bleeding Podcast.
Yep.
I also posted it on my Instagram account, on my Twitter account. I think Tyler retweeted it. Blue Wire tweeted the link. So find the link out there. It's a beautiful design. It says "You like that," and it's got Kyle Rudolph just mossing the Saints cornerback for that game-winning touchdown. Yeah, so that will go right next to the Minneapolis Miracle picture of Stephon Diggs making that catch too. So check that out. It's a good shirt. I think I'm gonna get one. So
I also am gonna get one.
So.
All right, bud.
All right, here we go.
Bikes.
Hopefully, we're talking about another win on Monday.
I think we might be.
Keep it going.
Yeah, buddy.
Keep it going.
Skull Bikes.